Huh. Travis Wayne Goodsell. It just occurred to me how Joseph Smith's prophecy about the latter days has come to pass. Huh. Huh. Bear with me. Let me read to you the prophecy. Huh. Doctrine and Covenants, section 101. For the redemption of Zion. He uses a parable to give his prophecy. Verse 51. The enemy came by night, broke down the hedge, and the servants of the nobleman arose and were affrighted and fled. And the enemy destroyed their works, broke down the olive trees. Huh. See, I had biases that had kept me from recognizing the fulfillment until just now. As I watched about less than an hour ago a Bill Maher segment from 5 years ago about a woman who broke free from Scientology, and she talked about how Scientologists discredit critics simply because they're critics. They don't understand the lingo of Scientology. They don't understand the nomenclature, as she called it. And so even Bill Maher, she talked about how she would watch him, and to Scientology she was a rebel sinner, but she still believed Bill was wrong. And she talked about how Scientology indoctrinates their followers to self-brainwash themselves by providing the material to read and the definitions for which they have to have for it. And that's what the church does to Mormons. And that same process that Scientology does. And so, yes, as a born and raised Mormon, I've had to recognize the biases that have brainwashed me from truth. And I'm able to do it only because I pursued learning about scientific theory development and logical argument. Those two things helped me so that when I came back to my Mormon indoctrination, I went, wait a minute. Huh. Oh. Aha. And so for Mormons, it's not just critics, it's also ex-Mormons. Oh, you're an ex-Mormon, now anything you say is wrong. And yeah, that does explain it. And you cannot get those people out except through, as the scriptures say, destruction. Your whole life has to be flipped upside down for you to be forced to reevaluate things under a brand new paradigm. Whereas me, because of my education, I'm able to escape the brainwashing of Mormonism. And so here is another moment as we're doing this video, because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is silent on the war in Ukraine. No statement given in opposition to Russia's attack. Fred Cox, or not Fred Cox, his neighbor who was in Congress and is now out. The other Cox, who's governor. He came out with a statement last night for Ukraine. And if you're thinking, well, the church doesn't have to do this, again, Mormons, I refer you to Nathan, who goes up to King David and condemns him for what he did. So don't give me this crap. I know the scriptures better than you. You will not win in a scripture debate about how the church is somehow true, because the Book of Mormon is true in exposing the great and abominable church. And that's why I don't see Mormons even trying to debate me anymore. See, in the beginning, in 2017, yeah, Mormon after Mormon after Mormon after Mormon would come out, no, this and this and that. And over time, they start disappearing. They start losing. Because I point out to them, Book of Mormon, Joseph Smith, and they're silenced. They're confounded. Because I'm using the foundations of Mormonism. And they're realizing how damaging to their belief systems I am. And so I have to be canceled, just like Scientologists have to cancel critics and those who leave. Because otherwise, they go through a faith crisis. And this is what I've been waiting for. And it hasn't happened the way I thought it would yet. It still might. But it has. The Mormons in Ukraine are part of these olive trees that have been planted all around the world. And the church has abandoned them. They fled. They pulled the missionaries out. They pulled the temple workers out. And left the Mormons behind. And are now being destroyed, broken down. Their neighborhoods are now rubble. Their homes, rubble. Their possessions, rubble. Hopefully, they all were able to make it on a bus out of Ukraine. But this is it. It's not just Utah. And so the Kentucky or Tennessee, which one was it? The tornado that the church went silent on. Church abandoned them. They fled. And in that particular instance, they left the missionaries there to be destroyed with the olive tree Mormons who live there. And here in Utah, they've been doing that. They just go silent. But they're also doing what's in the church news. During this wartime, after they pulled out the missionaries and the temple workers from Ukraine, Christofferson is in West Africa. Gong is in the Philippines. Soares is in the Dominican Republic. See a pattern? They fled. They're out going around the world pretending as if nothing ever happened. There is no statement from the church, no condemnation for the war by Putin. They've abandoned Mormons. They've left us to ourselves. And so where did I see that? See, groundbreaking for the temple in Argentina. That's not what I was looking for. Was it on this page? Oh, yeah. There it is, yeah. Giving stake presidents authority to determine whether or not to follow the medical professionals for Sunday. They washed their hands of Mormons. They aren't going to be the deciders anymore. Daddy. I'm the decider, Daddy. I will go to war against Saddam Hussein because I'm the decider. You guys even remember that? I remember that. He uses the public or the presidential podium to send messages to his dad. But the church, literally, they abandoned Mormons with Brad Wilcox. Do you see that? They went silent. They forced the news to go silent. They forced the protesters to go silent. They abandoned us. They fled. So, yeah, there may still be something for Utah during all this. I hope that NATO, if not the United States, finally steps in to defend Ukraine. I mean, dear God, this is just pathetic, allowing Putin a full day of invasion. And actually several days, but I mean, my God. So, my goodness, that just opened my eyes. So, some of the other updates is the Russian opposition party in Russia, they're protesting Russia invading Ukraine. And of course the police are brought in to beat them down. Russia is using this to test out their new technologies. They got stealth tanks and hypersonic missiles. The cryptocurrency pyramid scam. You should have known better. I hope you didn't invest, because you lost everything. They took the money and ran. Never get involved with a pyramid scam. Never. They give you all these hype promises of, oh, you can get all these people to join in and give us money and you'll get rich. Yeah, well, it's a pyramid. Once you get to a maximum of people, no more money coming in, and with war, oops! Yeah. And so, yeah, Ukrainians and Russians are failing to get their money out of their ATM accounts, their bank accounts. They're lining up the ATMs hoping to be able to get something. Good luck. You know, if you don't know, you've never seen It's a Wonderful Life with the savings and loan, that when the economy collapsed, everybody rushed to get their money out, and when that happens, that's the sad situation. And I don't think you guys fully understand that our stock market collapse today is just a precursor, because it happened all over the world. And once war comes to America, and you do not understand what it's like to live under war. I mean, it was my grandparents' generation, and sort of my parents, but it wasn't war. Congress did not declare war. That was where the presidents were trying to bypass Congress and claim a military action or something like that to avoid Congress from having to approve it. But yeah, man, you guys, I've been warning you for all these years, because I knew this day was coming, and it's gonna be a while. But I warned you, and you don't believe, because the prophets have purposely kept you from knowing the truth. And you're going to be shocked into a faith crisis that's going to be horrifying for you. I tried. And then the Russian diplomats to the United States have obviously been kicked out. So, dear God, guys, why aren't you taking this more serious? Why are you avoiding my videos on this first day of real physical war? I mean, the majority of my views are coming from yesterday's videos, which, great. But you're looking beyond the mark again. I did that video, and you're still doing it. So it's a sad day, and the prophets are fulfilling prophecy of the great and abominable church. Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are true. They've washed their hands of us.